Good evening, or morning as the case may be. I recently released a video, yesterday in fact, about the London and Greenwich Railway, in which I stated that it was the first commuter railway in the world. I received several comments not long after, pointing out that I was incorrect, and the first commuter railway in the world was in Ireland. And you know what? That's absolutely right. Mea culpa. What can I say? I'm one of those arrogant Londoners you read about. So allow me to correct my error with a quick video. The Dublin and Kingstown Railway opened a couple of years before the London and Greenwich Railway in 1834. It ran from Westland Row in Dublin to Dùn Laoghaire. I hope I'm pronouncing Dùn Laoghaire right, apologies if I'm not. Anyway, back then Dùn Laoghaire was known as Kingstown, and the harbour there was seen as a good destination for a railway. The mailboat arrived there, as of course did a lot of cargo, and this was to be the original focus of the railway, except that it turned out to be immensely popular with passengers. So much so that goods became secondary to commuters and were transported on coach roofs or under the seats, and thus did it become the first commuter railway. The railway was built very fast, in just 18 months, something that future engineers looking after the railway's infrastructure would come to lament. It used locomotives from the start, and from 1841 became the first railway to build its own locos rather than buying them in from independent builders, as was the style at the time. Unusually for Irish railways, it was built to the British standard gauge of 4 feet 8.5 inches, although it would later be rebuilt to the Irish standard gauge of 5 foot 3 inches. In 1843 they introduced the first commercial atmospheric railway between Kingstown and Dalkey. An atmospheric railway is a curious thing where instead of using locomotives, the carriages are attached to a piston in a pipe between the rails. A pumping engine then creates a vacuum in the pipe which sucks the coaches along. It actually worked reasonably successfully until 1854, when it was decided that it didn't offer enough of an advantage over regular steam traction to justify keeping it. Not only could the railway boast its own steam locomotives and an atmospheric railway, but its own swimming pools. They were a neat little money spinner along the railway's coastal route, very popular with the health-conscious folk of the mid-19th century. The railway was taken over by the Dublin and Wicklow Railway in 1856 and converted to Irish standard gauge, and it still operates to this day. So, not only the first, but the oldest. It's now part of the Dublin Area Rapid Transit System, or DART. I guess it could be argued that the London and Greenwich was the first railway to be intended as a commuter railway from the start, but that's not what I said in the video. I do wonder, though, if the directors of the London and Greenwich were aware of the Dublin and Kingstown when they were building their line. Anyway, that's that. Once again, I would like to apologise to my viewers, especially those in Ireland, for my ignorance of this pioneering railway. This is a very, very basic video just for the sake of correcting my error, but maybe one of these days I should see about doing a more in-depth piece. I'm sure I've skipped over quite a lot. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see something more in-depth, and I'll look into it. Thanks for watching.